The Denver Broncos have just gained a hidden advantage that makes me feel more confident than ever about our chances to go into Buffalo and come out with a win. If you're new to the channel, you might not know that I've been high on the Broncos for a while now, even before we made the playoffs. It all started back in the offseason when I heard what Sean Payton, B. Nix, Cortland Sutton, and the entire team had to say. Based on that, I predicted we'd win at least 9 games, maybe even 11. And guess what? We landed right in the middle of that. Now, when I talk about the advantages we have, I wouldn't be saying this if we were heading to Baltimore. That's a tough matchup. I wouldn't say it if we had to play the Bengals in Cincinnati either. But there are a few key advantages we've got to talk about, and I'm excited to share them with you. So, if you're on board with me, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. First up, a sneaky advantage we have is Buffalo's defense. The system they run most often, and actually the 5th most used defense in the entire NFL, is the Vic Fangio system, which uses 2 high safeties. This defense is something that we know very well, and it's a defense that works in our favor, especially with a player like Jerry Jeudy. This kind of defense favors intermediate routes and plays in the middle of the field, areas where Jeudy excels. This is exactly why Sean Payton made the move to let Russell Wilson take charge in these types of situations. So, Buffalo's defense could be just what we need to exploit and come out on top. Let's talk about that middle of the field again. B. Nix, aka B. Knox, absolutely thrives in those areas. People like to say he's just a check-down king, but that's because he's great at exploiting man coverage and those short, intermediate routes. The fact that B. Nix ranks 2nd in the NFL for throwing touchdowns against that very defensive look and 9th for yards per attempt is a huge sign that he knows how to shine against the kind of defense the Buffalo Bills run. This is exactly the type of defense where he can really make a difference. Now, here's another sneaky advantage we have. On Sunday, we're looking at a matchup between the team that has sacked the quarterback the most and the team that has done the best job protecting their quarterback. In these kinds of head-to-head battles, someone's got to give. Will the defense break through and get to the quarterback? Or will the offensive line hold strong and keep their QB safe? Historically, when this kind of matchup has happened, the defense has come out on top every time. We've seen it before. The Steelers beat the Browns, the Panthers beat the Cowboys, and the Chiefs beat the Colts. This bodes really well for the Broncos when we face off against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And here's the kicker. We're not just competing with the Bills in terms of sacks. We've broken Denver Broncos' records this season. We've sacked the quarterback an impressive 63 times, which is huge and gives us the edge in this battle. If you take a look at the quarterbacks and offensive lines we've faced this season, you'll see we've gone up against a ton of playoff-caliber teams. This isn't just about racking up sacks against weaker opponents, like the one time we played the Carolina Panthers. No, we've been challenging some of the most elite offenses in the league. And it shows. Since trading Bradley Chubb, we've had someone step up with 10 sacks, and our dynamic duo, Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonito, have combined for a total of 24 sacks. Watch out, Josh Allen. With guys like Zach Allen leading the charge, this entire squad is ready to attack. This demolition crew will be in your backfield all day long, and that's a matchup that generally favors the defense. Now, here's another sneaky advantage. A lot of people have said the Broncos just backed their way into the playoffs, claiming we didn't beat any good teams. But if you look deeper at the point differential when we played other playoff teams, it tells a different story. Take the Houston Texans, for example. They've been getting outscored by 66 points when facing playoff teams. On the other hand, people are calling Baltimore a top contender because they've outscored playoff teams by 112 points. But here's the thing. The Denver Broncos have actually outscored playoff teams this season, and that's a key indicator of how strong we really are. So, that narrative that we haven't played anyone good? Completely false. The Denver Broncos have actually outscored playoff teams by 3 points this season. Meanwhile, when the Buffalo Bills have faced playoff teams, their points for and against put them 15 points in the hole. That's another sneaky advantage for us. But it gets better. The Broncos are embracing the underdog role, and I think that's a huge advantage. In fact, B. Nix himself said it. Being the underdog is an advantage because it allows you to play loose. The Buffalo Bills, on the other hand, carry the weight of their history. They've lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, and that entire city feels that pressure. They have to win. Plus, Sean McDermott is under a lot of pressure too. If the Bills get bounced early, he could be on the hot seat. That kind of pressure can make a team play tight. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos are playing with house money. There's no massive expectation on our shoulders. We're playing free, and B. Nix even said it. Being the underdog allows us to play loose and with confidence. Around Denver, it almost feels like we've already won the Super Bowl. This mindset is going to make us even more dangerous in this game. What's even more telling is how the players feel. While some people might think our goal was just to make the playoffs, Courtland Sutton made it clear today that the mission isn't over. He said, "People are saying mission accomplished?" No, the mission wasn't just to get into the playoffs, it was to go much further. And this mindset has been in place since August, when Kay Adams came to town and talked to the team. It's been the plan all along, and this underdog advantage? It's ours, and it's our time right now. Riley Moss is echoing the same energy. He said, "Everyone's calling me the underdog, but I'm going to sleep well, knowing we're going to get after them." When you hear that, you can feel the confidence behind his words. We've been covering Russell Wilson for years, so we know the difference between what someone says and how they actually feel. You can tell when a player is just saying the right things, and when it's truly authentic. With these guys, it's real. You can see it in their body language, the way they approach this game. There's a Sean Payton energy about them. They're loose, but locked in. They're confident, young, hungry, and dangerous. Exactly like we've been saying all along. Riley Moss? He's going to sleep well. Why wouldn't he? He's about to face one of the weakest receiving corps he's seen all season. That's a matchup he's ready to take on. With all due respect, there's not a single receiver on the Buffalo Bills that scares me. They haven't had a receiver go over 1,000 yards this season. The one thing we do need to focus on, though, is not letting their tight ends dink and dunk us down the field. That's been a bit of a struggle for us in the past, but I trust Vance Joseph to figure that out. Overall, there are huge advantages across the board that have me looking at this game in a completely different light. The fact that Buffalo is favored by 10 points? That's just disrespectful, and it's not going to happen. The idea that we haven't beaten any good playoff teams, or that we're just backing into the playoffs, is also off base. Let's not forget, Sean Payton took the New Orleans Saints to a Super Bowl and won it against Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. For anyone younger than me, you have to realize how improbable that was. The Saints were once the laughingstock of the NFL. People wore paper bags over their heads at games, but Peyton took them from a losing streak into the playoffs and flipped everything around. So when people talk about our last 3 games, saying we only squeaked by the backups of the Kansas City Chiefs, that's a bogus take. Don't let it fool you. I'm hoping the Buffalo Bills are looking past us, thinking of us as just a road bump. Because this Broncos team is full of fire and ready to come out swinging. I can't wait for Sunday. I'm so excited. I honestly feel like I could just go to bed right now and wake up right at game time. It's going to be wild. And the way we perform on Sunday is just the beginning, folks. This team is one of the youngest in the entire league. We're actually the 2nd youngest team in the playoffs. And remember, we're coming off of Russell Wilson's dead cap hit, which means we'll have plenty of picks coming our way. We didn't trade away our picks for the future, and we're still getting compensatory picks for losing one of our quarterbacks. If Vance Joseph moves on, we could even get 2 extra picks. So, this team is only going to get younger, hungrier, and more dangerous. That's something to be extremely excited about. And as I mentioned before, Courtland Sutton has been a huge vocal leader for this team. I love how he handled his contract situation, got his deal, and still came out and performed big in the final game. After everything, he came out and said, "This is great, but we're not satisfied." He made it clear that while people are excited we're in the playoffs, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning. "It's our turn now," he said, and that kind of mentality is exactly what we need. Even Coach Sean McDermott knows how serious we are. He's not sleeping on the fact that Nick Bonito is a real threat, And he even said, "I think they've got a really good one over there. He could even win Offensive Rookie of the Year." Imagine that. A Defensive Player of the Year and an Offensive Rookie of the Year on the same team? That's the kind of combination that gets me excited. And finally, here's the last crazy advantage I'm saving for the end, because it's the only part I'm joking about. But seriously, Sean Payton just dominates bald coaches. He's got a 71% winning percentage when facing a coach with a bald head. So, with McDermott on the other sideline, I'm feeling pretty good about our chances on Sunday. The Denver Broncos are going into Buffalo, shocking the world, and then we'll move on to face the Kansas City Chiefs. There's so much to believe in right now.